Hi. All right, guys. So our topic tonight is, will August be any different for you and your business? My poor husband is outside the door with the dogs and they're barking. I don't know if you can hear that. So if you can, I'm sorry. Um, so you guys, it's August 1st. It's a new month. It's an exciting time. So many people set goals. So many people get like revved up and ready to go, and they kick off, fast for the first 24 hours to maybe even a couple of weeks, and then something happens. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's called. It happens to all of us. I guess you lose your steam, right? So, what I wanted to talk about tonight is, what are you going to do if you want August to be different? How are you going to be different to make August work for you? And I know this is a tough one because a lot of the faces on here are in boot camp. So I know you're working your butt off. Like, I know it. I see it. I'm seeing all of you guys work so hard in boot camp. But well, and before I even say that, you're working very hard in boot camp, and traditionally, June and July are very tough months for sales for Lavelle. So those of you that have been working all the way through this, I know based on history that it will start to pay off, right? Because you've been putting in the work. You have to keep putting in the work, right? You can't quit. But I want to talk to you guys tonight about the magic of making some small, very small changes, but how that could completely change everything for you in the upcoming months, not just August, but in the upcoming months. So there's a thought process where they talk about goal setting. So we deal with this a lot, obviously, with clients. So a client might come in and be like, I want to lose 20 pounds by December. Okay, that's a big goal, right? That's a big goal for someone. And to say that, they're like, I'm going to work out 4 days a week, and I'm going to eat right, and I'm going to drink all this water, and you start piling stuff on your goals. So think about this as in the realm of your business. I'm going to hit 12K this month, or I'm going to hit 12K before the end of the year. And to do that, I'm going to have a local every month, and I'm going to do a live every, 1 day a week. And I'm going to you just start piling all these things onto your goal. That gets overwhelming, and that is where people burn out, and that is where people lose their steam, and that is where people start to shut down. And so we're going to talk about how when you take more of how when you take away some of the magnitude or the volume of tasks that you have in your mind to get to your goal, and you break it down into small bite-sized chunks, how you can actually achieve it without becoming so overwhelmed. So for example, like somebody might be like, I'm going to read 10 books this year. I know for me, that's a huge goal. I know for some of you are like, I could do that on the weekend. So if I told you I was going to read 10 books this year, I've probably had a glass of wine or something. Like, where did that come from, right? Where would I just come up with that goal? Because that would be a hard one for me. But if I said to you, I'm committed to reading 4 pages of a book every night, that is something that you can do, right? If somebody says, I'm going to eat nothing but healthy foods, or I'm going to cut out all the bad food. What if they just said, I'm going to incorporate 1 piece of raw fruit in my day, and I'm going to make sure 1 meal has a vegetable, which for some people, that is a huge difference from how they normally eat. But again, it's not like I'm going to eat totally clean. I'm going to, throw out all the junk food. Like, it's not going over and beyond. And so someone on this page that I'm actually looking at her face did start making one small change. Her name is Lisa Cook, and she started getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work her business between 5 and 6 versus waiting to do it till the end of the day. And I'm gonna let Lisa talk about that. She doesn't even know. She has no idea. I just threw that at you. Hi, Lisa. But she's going to talk about how that has changed her business for her. That was one small change. And granted, Lisa chose 5. Maybe she could have chose 5:30. Maybe for you, for her, that was her time. Maybe you don't have to get out of bed until 9 o'clock during the week. Well, maybe you could get up at 8 or 8. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be different for everybody. So I'm going to ask you, I have 9. Is it 9? I have 9 questions here I'm going to ask you. And I just want you to think while I'm talking about these. Think about your business. Okay. Now, when we talk about our business, we also have to talk about our health and wellness because, well, A, because we sell health and wellness, but B, because our health and wellness controls how we feel about our business and how we go into each day with our business, right? So if you are not feeling well physically, if you're not feeling well mentally, it's really challenging to dive into your business goals. Okay. So we're going to just talk. I'm just going to ask These are very general, wide open questions. It's just to get your brain started. Okay. And you can chime in at any time if you want to answer them out loud. You don't have to, but number one, how is your life working out? It's a very big question. How is your life working out? How are you feeling about life? Now, it's not saying is your life perfect? Is your life easy? Right? No one's expecting that because you're a human, but how is it working out? How are you handling all the things that are happening in your life? Number two, what's your daily attitude? How happy are you on a day-to-day basis? Like truly happy. Number three, how are your relationships with your family, your friends, your coworkers, mentors, business partners? Like, how are your relationships with humans right now? Are they driving you crazy? Are you driving them crazy? Have you gone into like I get this way every now and then, like where I go into hermit mode and I don't talk to anybody for a little bit, or then I'm like we had a weekend. This whole weekend was all about birthdays and birthdays and birthdays and retirements, and I was peopled out. Like I'll probably be a hermit tomorrow. And Lindsay says I don't love if I like this test. Number four, how is your health, your weight, your overall wellness, your mental health as far as like your self-esteem, your stress levels? Courtney says same. She's not sure she likes this test either. It's not a test. It's just a question. I'm just getting you thinking. Okay. So far, how's life working out? How's your daily attitude? How are your relationships with family, friends, coworkers, mentors? How is your health overall, weight wise, goal wise, all that stuff? Number five, how effectively are you feeding your mind? In other words, how many books or podcasts are you listening to, say over like the last 6 months? And are you constantly trying to learn? Like, are you constantly thinking of something new you would like to learn? So for me, my podcasts, I only read podcasts or books that I'm going to learn something from. I don't like to read otherwise. So for me, that goes hand in hand. If I'm listening to a podcast, it's because I want to learn something about something or someone. So think about that. Like, so if you're not, I guess what I'm saying is if you don't read a ton of books, like I don't, I would still rate myself pretty high on this because I make sure to stay feeding my mind. I lost track. Number six, how would you rate your lifestyle, such as your satisfaction with activities like traveling, exploring, attending events, visiting friends and family? Like, how would you rate that? Are you making time for that? Are you overwhelmed by that? Like I just said, this past weekend, that was a lot in one weekend for me. I mean, I loved it. I had fun. Don't get me wrong, but that was a lot over one weekend. Number seven. So I'm sorry. Let me go back really quick to number six. How do you rate your lifestyle? Wait, dang it. Did I jump ahead? Yeah, no. How do you rate your lifestyle as far as like your activities? So relate this one to your business. So when it talks about your activities, traveling, exploring, attending events, how are you doing with that with your business? And I know people are just starting to like travel more and more, but think about that. Like, if you heard that there was a local within an hour of your home, were you like, I'm going? Or were you like, well, it's not 10 minutes from my home, so I'm not going to go. Number seven. Are you ready? Where is your income compared to where you want it to be? No, and I literally could you're muted. Don't get me wrong, Lindsay, but I could hear you in my head the second I asked that question.
Reread number seven.
It is, where is your income in comparison to where you want it to be? Lynn says she's dying. Oh, we're only saying that because we were having a conversation about income earlier. So, but I could like literally hear your voice in my head, Lindsay. So, some of you, oh, that was my phone. Sorry. I know, like for me over the last 7 years, like I was just tickled to pieces to earn a check on a Tuesday, like in the beginning. And now I'm like, now I have a certain number in my head I want to see on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? So like, it's going to be different for everybody. Some of you are going to be like, girl, I got paid last week and that was awesome. So if you were to compare where it is versus where you want it to be, you're probably pretty happy about it, right? And then some of you are like, this is not, I need to make more. I want to make more. Number 8, how often do you give back to others? That is a huge part of life. I think a lot of people think of giving to others as like charity. Um, but this is you in your life. So it's so much more than like donating to a church or donating your time to the boys club or something like, the like stuff like that. It's when was the last time you helped your friend do something just because they needed help that day? Or when was the last time you checked on your grandma? Or like like how often are you giving back to others? Because we all know to receive, we have to give, right? Like it feels so good to give to others. That alone is a gift to yourself. And number 9, this is our last question, and then I'll go back to chit chatting. How is your goal setting? How satisfied are you with the goals that you have created, manifested, accomplished, whatever word you want to use? How satisfied are you with the goals that you have accomplished so far compared to the goals you have set? Like clearly Courtney Summers could get on here and be like, look, I got a goal board and I'm knocking all of them off. And a lot of us could say that for some things, but are we saying it for all of the things? Are maybe some of those goals that are on that board, are they so big and you don't have them down to bite-sized pieces to where you can make one small change? Lisa, I feel like Ed Milet. I almost said one small, like one more. I don't know. I felt like Ed Milet was coming out of my mouth on that one. So what I want you guys to do now is I want you to think about what is one small thing that you can do for your business that you're not currently doing. So for example, I'm gonna rattle off things because everyone is in a different place in their life. A lot of us work from our phones, so I know this could be tricky, but do you put your phone on silent or leave it in the other room so that you can work on your laptop or your computer and focus on your business? Or are you like me in this very moment and I'm on a Zoom, but I see I've got messages coming in, right? Like, are you that one small thing could really open up your eyes in time more. Like I'm guilty of it. I will be in the middle of being super productive and I'm like, oh, message, and I'm right. And then the worst is when the message is just like a TikTok for funny and I know not to click it, but I click it and then I'm like, right. It's like you start losing that. So maybe that one small change can make a big difference for you. Maybe some of you are looking at your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just being overwhelmed instead of making the goal of I'm going to get 3 of my 5 reach outs done before noon. That's a small change. That's a mindset change right there. Instead of looking at that whole sheet and being like, I got to get this done. Whew, how am I going to get this done? What if you broke it down and said, I'm going to get 3 reach outs done before noon, the other 2 sometime after, or, before 5 p.m. I'm going to send out my 2 friend requests or get my 2 new connections before 8 p.m. What if you started breaking it down and making it not as overwhelming and not so scary to work on? How many of you would benefit from not catching every Zoom and every StreamYard and every YouTube, right? How many of you are like, oh my gosh, I've got this one. I got a power plan at 8. I've got a StreamYard at 11. I've got a team Zoom at 7:30. I've got a squad Zoom for my boot camp at 9. Whew, that's Monday. And then like, right. And then you're like, but I know I love to catch the recording of the Monday lunchtime that I didn't get to do on Tuesdays. Like how many of you could benefit from saying, I'm going to pick one training a day to dive into? And I'm not saying you might find more, maybe you'll find time during the day and pick up a second one, but how many of you are overwhelming yourselves by trying to be, what was it we talked about, overtrained and underworked, right? How many of you could benefit from that? Last week, we talked all about schedules, right? And we talked about getting really specific with our schedules and controlling our schedules instead of letting our schedules control us. This is another way of controlling our goals instead of letting our goals control us. If you allow your calendar to overwhelm you, you lose, right? You lost that game. But if you control your calendar, You're in charge of your day. You know what's going to happen during the day because you've established what you want to get done during the day. And so when somebody comes to you at 3 o'clock and is like, oh my God, emergency, emergency, I need you to do X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. You can say, you know what? I'm sorry, from 3 to 5, I can't, but I can at 5. Or you can say, I'm sorry, today I'm totally booked. Because here's the thing with your Thrive business. If somebody called you at your day job and was like, I need you to do this for me, and I need you to, can you pick me up and take me over here? And you'd be like, I can't. I'm clocked in. I got a boss, right? Well, you have a boss here too. So when you're looking at your goals and you're setting your goals, if you're not looking at that goal and breaking it down so it makes perfect sense and you can find time for it and you can digest it and really process it, if you're looking at it and just getting overwhelmed, you lose, right? You have to break it down, take the pressure off of the big goal. You're always going to want to start with that big shiny goal. Like here we are. It's a pyramid scheme, right? Let's follow the thinking. It's a pyramid scheme. We're going to start with that big goal of 200K. You can't get there until you're 80K. Can't get there until you're 40K, right? Well, how do you get to be there? So if I want to be, let's say I want to hit 12K this month, what are the things I need to do? Like I need to get new customers. Well, to get new customers, I need to talk to 30 people. To talk to 30 people, I need to put 5 polls in my, like you've got to start working your way down into the nitty gritty. And that's why we say all the time, back to basics, back to basics. What is the one basic thing you can do that you're not doing with your business? There's something, and I don't know the answer because like I said, everyone's at a different point with their business. Everyone's in a different point with their goals. I don't know what the one answer is, but the reason I wanted to go over those questions with you is because I feel like if you really start thinking about how is my life working out? Is it working for me? And let me throw this at you really quick. Some of you will be like, no, it's absolutely not working for me. This is going wrong. That's going wrong. I'm not where I want to be. Da, 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 da. Something somewhere is working for you because you're staying there. So you really have to start asking yourself, do I say I want to be 12K, but maybe I don't because I'm going to have to work more, or I'm afraid I'm going to have to start doing a team Zoom. Like what? There's something working for you to stay where you are. And it could be as simple as I want to be 12K, but my day job pays my bills. So if I don't hit 12K, it's okay. Something's working there for you, right? Something is keeping you calm and balanced. So it could go all the way back to the fact that you just need to sit down and redraft your goals. You may need to rethink your goals. Or you may need to break your goals down. But you have to find what in your life. So like, how is your health? Well, we always talk about being a product of the product. It's very hard for someone to feel confident talking about how amazing they feel and how great they're doing if they're not, right? It's hard to talk about that. That's the point where you're becoming when you're early on and you're starting to thrive and you're starting to feel better and you're starting to maybe even look different, like maybe you're losing a little bit of weight or maybe you're getting that glow back in your face. That doesn't start. I mean, I know for some of you it did day one, but that doesn't start day one for a lot of people. So in that moment, instead of stopping yourself, what is one thing you can do? What's one small thing you can do? You can start sharing other people's success while you're working on your own. Right? So that one thing would be sharing someone else's success. So I would love to hear from you guys now that I've been talking now for a solid 20 minutes. Are you thinking of one small thing that you can do, one small change you could start making? I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if you're starting to feel insane, like, what the heck? Why am I still doing this? We got to figure something out. And it doesn't have to be astronomical. The point I want to get across to you is that you don't have to come in here August 1st and be like, dang, I missed 12K last month. I got to rehaul my whole life. I can't see my family for the next 30 days because I got to get it together. No, it could be something really small. It could be like Lisa, getting up early. It could be breaking down your daily tasks into smaller bites so you can understand them. It could be locking your phone in the guest bedroom while you focus and get your work done. There's something small that you can do. So Lisa, while they're thinking and you're on here, will you talk about, because I know you and I have messaged a little bit, but how does it feel? How different does it feel for you getting up earlier?
Well, it feels really good. And in fact, this morning, I woke up on my own at 4:45 and I looked at my clock and my phone is on my nightstand. It's my alarm clock.
Mhm.
So I woke up and I looked at the clock and I was like, oh, I got 15 more minutes. And I did that, I think 1 or 2 days last week too. And there's a couple things here. One, the alarm goes off and I know that you're expecting a text from me with the Add My Let quote, because that's our deal. I
Uh-huh.
get up, I send a text to Tammy as a part of my accountability. Um, so that's huge for me. But it also allows me to start my day and get stuff done because I do work full time. I have a husband and a son, so I cook dinner most nights and, laundry and just life.
Mhm.
My mom lives about
Can you
15
turn
minutes
it
away,
down a
so
little
there
bit?
sometimes I have to go take care of her. So anyway, just life. So if I can get in here in the morning and get some stuff done and knock out most of my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then when I come back in here in the evening, I'm not in such a, I don't want to say panic, but in just a rush to hurry up and get it done.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, if I'm getting up at 5 o'clock and I'm missing an hour's sleep, well, I'm darn well going to be productive and make it worth, you know what I'm saying? Make it worth my time,
Mhm.
and try to really get a benefit from it other than just, I think a lot of, I know I have been guilty of before with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, just putting names on there to be able to put names in. Well, when you're losing that, I'm not losing an hour's sleep, but when you're getting up an hour before you really need to, you need to, there's a little more effort and purpose, I think is the word I'm looking for, that's going into what I'm doing.
I
And
love.
I feel good about myself. I feel good. Ed Milet talks about the promises that you building self-confidence is the promises you keep to yourself. So one day last week, the alarm went off and I was like, oh, and I was like, no, you have kept this promise to yourself. Get your hiney out of bed and get going. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I know you mentioned that you send me that text, and you guys, it's so nice. You should get a buddy to send you like a uplifting text every morning. That's quite nice. But I don't care if it comes at 5:02 or 5:08 or whatever, right? Because I know you're getting up and doing what you want to do. Like, if it's 5:01, I'm not like, well, Lisa slept in, it's not like that. I'm actually probably feeding dogs at 5. But I just get excited when I see it whenever it does come to me, because I'm like, she did it. She did it again. She said she was going to do it, and she did it again. So please, everyone know she's not getting up for me. Like, she's not sending me the text because I asked her to. She is getting up because that's something she chose to do for herself. And she could very easily be like, oh, hey, sorry, today this happened or that happened last night and I did. But all I get in the morning is my text from Lisa. I don't get any excuses. If it comes at 5:02 or 5:15, it doesn't matter. I get that text from Lisa and I know she's doing what she promised herself she would do. And I know that seems really big. Like, that's a big statement. I'm keeping the promises to myself, but she's doing it with one small change. She changed the time on her alarm.
yeah. And the funny thing was the first morning I got up and come downstairs. Now my husband leaves for work at 5:15. He works construction and he's working down in Cincinnati right now. So the first morning I come down, he's like, what are you doing? And I said, well, while we were at the retreat, I talked about getting up at 5 and working my business from 5 to 6. I said, and I come back from the retreat and had COVID for 2 weeks. So I was like, I'm just now being able to fulfill what I talked about. So yeah, so I'm getting there.
I know. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Um, and so, because I think a lot of people would be like an hour early, but again, you're focusing on in the grand scheme of things, that's the big goal, was the hour early. The one small thing that she did was change the time on her alarm. So again, think about what the goal is, but what is one small thing you can do to make it happen or to change your activity? I mean, like, I talk to people, like, oh, I snack too much at night. I'm like, okay, after dinner, go brush your teeth. Makes a huge difference. Like, there's little things you can do. So basically, and I don't want to get off, but there's like a habit loop. We all get in these habit loops. Different things trigger the different habits. And so, anytime you've tried to change a habit and you've tried to like go gung ho, how hard it is to go gung ho. But if you just said to yourself, okay, I'm gonna pick up my phone, I'm gonna change my wake up time from 6 o'clock to 5:45. You guys, you can get a lot of work done in 15 minutes on your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But I also love what you said, Lisa. You're making the sacrifice, I'll call it, to get up early and do that. And so you're like, I'm going to be productive versus coming home at night and being panicky and exhausted from your really long day and just throwing names in or scrolling, right? Like you're being super productive. So I would encourage every one of you to think about what is one small thing that I can change this month and focus on that one small thing. Don't, I mean, you can do some, like, what is something small that you could do every day? So in that case, so if you got up 15 minutes early, let me get my calculator out because math is hard. If I got up 15 minutes early every day for the next 31 days, well, we'll just say 30 because today's already happened, right? It'd be 450 extra minutes that you worked on your business. That's a lot. Think of what you could get done with that. And that's only getting up 15 minutes early every day. Maybe some of you are like, I can't do that. XYZ. Here's why. It doesn't, like, fine. What could you do? Has it, now that I've talked and Lisa talked, did anyone think of anything that they feel like they want to change? Do anybody have any ideas of one small thing they can do that will change their routine or break the bad habit or break their goal down? No.
Well, my alarm still goes off at 6:15.
Okay.
It has for the last 5 years. But that doesn't mean I get my happy honey out of bed.
Okay.
Some days it's 8:15 before I get out of bed.
What do you do between 6:15 and 8:15? Did you actually go back to bed or are you?
Well, I take my acid reflux medicine. 20 minutes later, I take my capsules. And while I'm waiting to do all of that, that's when I'm listening to a devotional, my devotionals.
So you're using that time.
But then sometimes I fall back asleep.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's where I've got to quit that.
Okay.
And have my notes section, have my things by my bedside because I'll listen. I've been trying to finish listening to something Lisa sent me the other day, and I know it's so good. I got to take notes. So there's just a few little things I need to tweak. Then I can get those notes done that I want to do.
Well, Enzy's going to tell you, get your butt up out of the bed because then you can't go back to sleep, is what I would say.
Yeah. Or at least sit straight up, like sit all the way up. Your head and shoulders in line with your hips. So you have pillows behind you. You could still be, but get your head up above everything else. Yeah.
I'm not getting up at 5 like Lisa, but I will get up at 6:15.
Yeah. Well, and that's my thing. Like, not everybody has to do that particular one, but it's just made such a difference mentally, right? Mentally, it's helped make that space in her life to work on her business that she doesn't have to feel guilty. You guys, her husband leaves. How many of you come home at night and you're like, I can't work on my business because I haven't seen my family all day. And if I pull out my phone, they're going to be mad. I get it. So he's gone at 5:15 and she had been sleeping. So now she's up doing her thing. So when she gets home at night, they can spend time together. So Sandra, you mentioned something. This is one small thing I started doing probably back in February when we started boot camp. I actually go to bed at night with my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on my calendar. It literally is on my nightstand with my ink pen because first thing I do in the morning, well, we got to feed the dogs, but then I actually get back in bed. I sit straight up, take my capsules, and I start working on my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So between 5 and 6, I am done with my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the day. Now, granted, you got to do social media throughout the day, whatever, but I've done everything else. So then I can take care of my team and I can take care of boot camp and I can talk back. Like, the beauty of doing it early, I will tell you guys, is that during the day while you're working your regular job, people are starting to respond to your messages that you sent. And then at night, you can just kind of catch up, or shocking, let them hang there for a day and put them on your follow-ups the next day because you continue the conversation. Smarter, not harder, right? So what's other, like, so let's wipe the slate clean of waking up in the morning. What is a small change that somebody thinks they could do to make their business, to just, I don't want to say make your business incredible, but just to change the direction of your business? What is one small thing you can do that we haven't discussed yet? Because getting up early is not the answer for everybody. Finding time is probably the answer for everybody.
Tammy, another thing that you've done that I've done, and you've talked about it, I don't know how many times, you talk about, you don't just, the dentist office just doesn't open up and hope people come in. They have a schedule and an appointment. So I've been trying to go ahead in my week and have people on my list that I'm going to reach out to for whatever reason, so that I'm, just not scrolling looking for somebody.
Yes. Has that made it easier for you? Yeah. And it saves time because you're not scrolling looking for people. Because you guys, what my biggest offender is scrolling. Like, social media is funny. There's dog videos galore. Hello. But they don't pay my bills. So that's why I do it in the morning when I'm focused and energetic and all that stuff. Courtney says she plans out her birthdays ahead for the week. Absolutely. If Facebook has that all laid out for you guys. You could literally start writing in all your birthdays now. So you don't have to even get on Facebook to send those messages. Okay. So, and this is a little tip. One small change you could make is opening Messenger, not Facebook. They are two separate apps. You can open Messenger without opening Facebook. But again, if you don't know who you're messaging, you're not going to have that figured out. So if the night before, like literally before you go to bed at night, you can write down everyone's birthdays for tomorrow. Or like Courtney says, like on the power plans for Sunday, I encourage people to write down everyone's birthday for the week that they're going to message. So then you don't even have to get on Facebook. You just send the text message, get Messenger, whatever it is. But that's a time saver and it keeps you focused. And birthday reach outs, Danielle's not on here tonight. Birthday reach outs are a great way to get customers and get people trialing Thrive. Okay, well, it's already 8 o'clock. I hope this was helpful. I hope it gets your brain thinking a little bit like, am I overwhelming myself with too much am I overwhelming myself with my goals by asking myself to do 20 new things this month because last month wasn't great? I want to scale back. What is something I can change? And one thing I will throw out to you guys too is remember, if every day you're waking up with a new theme to your business, as in like, I'm going to get samples today. Tomorrow, I'm going to get detox people tomorrow. If you're all over the board like that, pare it down. What is one thing you can focus on for 2 to 4 weeks? If you just put your mind focused on, I'm going to get samples out. Monday morning, I'm going to get samples out. Tuesday, I'm going to get samples out. Wednesday, if you really start focusing your mind and your activities in one direction instead of letting yourself get all over the place, because you saw somebody did a detox post and you want to do that now, and you saw somebody did E60 and you want to do that, and somebody was talking about a freebie, right? We all do it. We see successful people. We're like, oh, I'm going to do what she did. Consistency and focus with one thing, one change, one task. It'll make a huge, huge difference for you mentally and for your business. So I would love to know, you guys can message me throughout the week. What is the one thing that you've decided to change, add, delete? That's the thing too. Don't always think that I'm telling you have to add something to your list. I'm telling you what is something you could, maybe you need to delete something from your list. Maybe there's one thing that you're doing too much of, or one thing that's pulling your focus away that isn't game changing for you. Okay. All right. This will be on YouTube. See you guys next week. Bye.